Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be looking at bringing AI in-house. Is it worth it? We've got some marketing material here for a product called Black Box. It's by Happy Bird Production Ltd. And they're making a case for dishing the cloud and going solo with your AI. What's interesting here is that they really emphasize the data security aspect.
Yeah, that's understandable. A lot of businesses are really concerned about data these days, especially those dealing with sensitive information, healthcare, finance. They really have to be careful with all the regulations too, GDPR and HIPAA compliance and all. A data breach could really be disastrous, legally, and for their reputation, of course.
Absolutely. So Black Box is promising this absolute data security by keeping everything in-house. Is that really possible, though? What are they doing that's so different to be able to claim that level of security?
Well, it's a bold claim for sure. Security is never really absolute. But owning your own AI infrastructure does get rid of some risks. The ones you have with third-party providers. See, with a private system, you're the one controlling the entire data flow, the hardware, the software, everything. So you're basically reducing the possible weak points.
Okay, I can see that, but let's be realistic. Setting up a dedicated AI workstation, that sounds pricey. Wouldn't it be smarter to just stick with cloud services, at least to start?
That's what a lot of people think, actually. Cloud services might seem cheaper up front, but the cost can add up really fast. Think of it like renting a car versus buying one. The cloud services you're always paying, subscription fees, usage charges, and they just keep increasing, especially as your AI needs grow. A workstation like Blackbox, it's a big investment at first, yes, but it could save you money in the long term, if you're really using AI a lot, that is.
Interesting. So besides that initial cost, what other expenses are we talking about? Maintenance, for example.
Oh yeah, maintenance is definitely a factor. With your own workstation, you're responsible for the upgrades, hardware, software, all of that, and repairs, of course. With cloud services, it's different. You're stuck with whatever the provider decides to do, pricing changes, updates, you name it. And you don't have much control over the configuration, the hardware and software, which can really affect performance.
That's something I've noticed. I've tried some cloud-based AI tools, and honestly, the lag can be frustrating. It really kills your productivity. Is that a common problem with cloud AI?
Latency is definitely an issue with cloud-based AI. You have to remember your data is going back and forth between your machine and the provider's servers, and that can cause delays, especially if your internet connection isn't great. Real-time applications, they're really sensitive to even small delays.
So how does having a local workstation help with that? Wasn't internet speed still matter for data transfers and updates and all that?
Well, with a local workstation, the data processing happens right there on your machine, so there's no need for data to travel back and forth to external servers, and that makes a huge difference in speed. It's a much smoother experience. And internet speed, it's still important for things like the initial data transfers and software updates, of course, or if you need to access external data sets. But the main AI processing, it all happens locally, so you get much faster response times.
That makes sense. It seems like there are some clear advantages to having a dedicated workstation for performance. I'm also curious about the flexibility that Blackbox talks about in their marketing materials. They say you can tailor the hardware and software to your specific needs. What does that look like, practically speaking?
That's one of the biggest benefits of owning your own AI setup with a private system. You're not limited by what the cloud provider offers. You choose the exact hardware and software you need.
So if I'm really into, say, deep learning algorithms, I can choose the exact GPUs and processors that are best suited for that kind of work.
Exactly. You can build your own custom AI system, optimized just for you, that kind of control. It could be a real game changer, especially for businesses with very specific applications or ones working with huge data sets. They need specific hardware to handle all that data.
Okay, this is sounding better and better, but we can't forget about reliability. What if the internet goes down? Or there's a server issue on the provider side? I can just imagine. Relying on an external service for some crucial AI function, and then, bam, it's gone.
Yeah, that's a real possibility with cloud services. It's a risk you have to consider. Imagine a manufacturing plant. They're using AI to control their production line. Or a financial institution using AI for fraud detection. Any interruption could cost them a lot of money or even lead to safety issues. That's when having your own AI setup really shines because it's always on.
So it's like you got your own personal AI bodyguard, always there, no matter what happens.
Exactly. You've got complete control over your system's availability. And that's crucial. For applications that can't afford any downtime,
I bet that peace of mind is worth a lot to some businesses. But let's talk about accessibility for a moment. Setting all this up, maintaining a private AI infrastructure, that sounds complicated. Is this even possible for businesses that aren't, tech giants with tons of resources?
that's a fair point. It's true that private AI used to be something only big companies could do. They had the money and the specialized teams. But things are changing, just like we saw with cloud computing. The technology is becoming more accessible.
So you're saying that it's not as difficult to get into private AI now. What's driving that change?
Well, there are a few things happening. First, the cost of hardware, like GPUs, which are essential for AI. Those prices have been going down. And second, we're seeing more pre-built AI workstation solutions, like this black box we're talking about. They make it much easier to set up and manage everything. They come with all the hardware and software you need, and support too. So businesses can get started quickly without needing a huge IT team.
So that's good news for smaller businesses that want to try private AI. But I'm guessing, even with these pre-built solutions, there's still a learning curve. What kind of technical skills do you need to manage a private AI workstation effectively?
Well, yeah, some technical knowledge is still helpful. You don't need a whole team of data scientists, but you should have someone who can handle things like software updates, data management, basic troubleshooting. Luckily, there are a ton of resources available, online courses, training programs to help people get up to speed.
That's good to know. So we've talked about the potential benefits of private AI: security, cost effectiveness, performance, customization, reliability. But are there any downsides? Are there any situations where a cloud-based solution might actually be a better fit?
Yeah, that's a really important question.
Yeah.
Private AI is great, but it's not the perfect solution for everyone. Sometimes the cloud makes more sense, like if your AI needs are pretty basic, or if you need a system that can scale up or down easily. That's where cloud platforms really shine.
So if you're just getting started with AI, or if you're only using it for a few things, the cloud might be a better option to start with.
Right, cloud platforms, they let you experiment with different AI tools without spending a ton of money up front, and they can scale almost infinitely, which is important if you're dealing with data that fluctuates a lot. But as your AI use grows and data security becomes more important, private workstations start to look more appealing.
So it's really a balancing act. You have to weigh the needs of your business against the pros and cons of each approach.
Exactly. There's no single right answer. The important thing is to think about your long-term goals and choose the solution that fits your strategy, your AI infrastructure. It's not just a tech decision. It can impact your whole business.
That's a great point. You've given us a lot to think about. But before we finish up, I want to go back to security for a minute. We talked about black box and their promise of absolute data security, but you said that no system is completely secure. So what are some practical steps that companies using private AI should be taking to protect their data?
You're right. Absolute security doesn't really exist, but you can definitely make your system very secure. Some important things you can do are implement strong access controls with multi-factor authentication so only authorized people can access your system. Make sure you're regularly updating your software and firmware to fix any vulnerabilities. Encrypt your data, both when it's stored and when it's being transmitted. That way, even if someone gets access, they can't read it. And it's crucial to have a good disaster recovery plan, just in case something happens, like hardware failures or some other unforeseen event.
So it's about having multiple layers of security to protect yourself from different threats.
Exactly. And remember, security is an ongoing thing. It's not something you do once and then forget about. You always have to be evaluating your systems and adapting to new threats.
This is all starting to make a lot more sense. Private AI has a lot of potential benefits, but it's important to think it through carefully and make sure it's the right fit for your business.
Absolutely. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about understanding how it affects your business and making smart decisions that help you achieve your goals.
Well, it feels like we've just scratched the surface here, but you've given us a lot to think about. As we wrap up, what's the one key takeaway you would leave our listeners with when it comes to the private AI workstations?
I'd say the biggest takeaway is that the whole AI conversation is changing. For the long time, the cloud was seen as the only real choice, for most businesses at least. But as AI gets more powerful and more integrated into everything we do, things like control and security and being able to customize things, those are becoming more important. And that's why we're seeing more private AI infrastructure. The technology is becoming more affordable too. So it's opening up possibilities for all kinds of businesses.
So it's more than just chasing the latest tech trend. It's about figuring out whether private AI really fits into your goals.
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be looking at these options. Kind of like the early days of personal computers. We're seeing a real shift in how businesses are thinking about AI, owning and controlling your own AI. That could be a huge advantage in the future.
We started out asking if bringing AI in-house was really worth it. And it seems like the answer isn't so simple. It really depends. But understanding the differences between private and cloud AI, that's what helps businesses make the right decision.
Absolutely. And like with any new technology, things will keep changing, new solutions, different costs. Private and cloud AI, they'll both keep evolving. So it's important to stay informed and be ready to adapt. And ultimately, Choose the path that sets your business up for success.
For our listeners out there who are thinking about a private AI setup, like Blackbox, what's the one question they should be asking themselves right now?
The most important question is, what are we hoping to achieve with AI? And what are the things we absolutely need to make those goals a reality, if those must-haves include complete control over your data, the best possible performance without any lag, or the freedom to customize your AI exactly the way you want it, then a private workstation might be the answer. But if you don't need all that, and flexibility and scalability are more important, then the cloud might still be the way to go. It's all about making the choice that's right for you.
That's a great point to end on. It's not about following the crowd. It's about making smart decisions that help your business grow and innovate. Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into private AI workstations. We hope you found it useful, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of emerging tech. 2TPI